So here's an interesting giant like banner that's being hung in Moscow, Russia, at the US Embassy. And translated, it says, "Air bombings killed children, destroyed embassy. This is not democracy, it's fascism." And let's see if we can get any kind of a close-up. Now you'll notice it's got Obama's colors in there. It's got partial Obama, partial Hitler face on this banner or flag or whatever this thing is. And it's on the US Embassy in Russia, Moscow. And once again, air bombings killed children, destroyed embassy. This is not democracy, it's fascism. So, of course, this is on their news. It's being paraded everywhere. Not too much on our news, of course. Not like it is over there and elsewhere. So, we're really being called out, guys. We as in our country. I know you and I and the citizens. I don't include us as we. We don't make policies changes and decide to overthrow governments covertly, throw the CIA over there and let's stir up some mess so we can get regime change, someone that'll be US friendly. And I think the reason why this is all happening like right now in the last few years, even with the whole uprising in, like Lindsey Williams talks about, in Egypt, Libya, Syria, they're trying to go through all these countries and then to finally end in Saudi Arabia, where all of them will be given power to the Muslim Brotherhood. And the successful ones, at least at first, were Egypt, and then quickly overthrown back to who the citizens wanted to run their country. So that didn't work. But Libya did stick for a while. Now Libya's in trouble. And all you have to do is look at Libya. What change happened in Libya when they overthrew Gaddafi and put the Muslim Brotherhood in charge, just as Lindsey Williams said they would. They had a oil company and a central bank on standby. And I haven't heard any news about, Libya's currencies in crisis, like some of these other countries we hear about right now, which are much larger than Libya. Yet their problems are, economically are way in more, dire straits, I guess, compared to Libya. Well, that's because, again, we had our way. We had our little covert operation. Now we have the Muslim Brotherhood. So they're working with us. And I'm sure the oil that's coming out of Libya, at least right now, is being sold, bought, trade, etc. for US dollars. So we have no reason to hurt Libya's economy. We don't need to have their dollar devalued like we're doing in Venezuela and Argentina and some other countries, which again are larger than Libya. So for every step forward in our elite's eyes, which is, okay, we've got in Libya, we're doing that, we've got a new deal over here, they're using the US dollar now. For every step forward, there's 2 steps back. Russia, China making a trade agreement, we're selling oil as well, energy not in US dollars. You guys want to come in? Now we're hearing that Germany possibly and some of the EU member states are kind of whispering over with Russia, yeah, we may need to do some trade agreements with you guys, which we understand is going to have to be not done in the US dollar. So everyone's kind of jumping ship on the United States. And all I can think about, of course our economy, and we're in trouble here too. You look at some of the other numbers, not the ones the Federal Reserve releases, and you can come to a quick conclusion that, yeah, our economy, our financial system, we're going to be in big trouble soon. We just had Goldman Sachs, the guy whose famous quote, "We are doing God's work," according to Lloyd Blankfein of Goldman Sachs, massive bank, right? He came out recently, very recently, and talked about, don't be too complacent. There still looks like there could be some trouble in the markets later on, and I definitely wouldn't be, beating around the bush talking about, yeah, it appears there's going to be another crash coming and we shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. So not only that, the Fed, the Georgia Fed, one of the 12 members, and another one, have recently come out talking about interest rates probably need to go up, and not just a little bit, and we can't have it both ways. We can't have 0% interest rates and lending out all this money at 0% and having asset prices rise, certain asset prices rise, while food, which include, of course, food and other things. So we need to cause inflation to take place so some of these things can come down, and it can kind of equal itself out. This is all something I've been talking about for a while now, interest rates, and I continually gave you the example of a mortgage in which interest rates go up, and you can have a $200,000 house at today's interest rates. Let's just say that equates to $1,500 a month, okay? And then all of a sudden interest rates rise. And as long as you're locked in, you got that house before the interest rates rise, and you didn't get an adjustable rate mortgage, you got a 30-year fixed mortgage, it doesn't affect you. But as I have also said in my other videos about this, life doesn't stop. People don't stop growing up. Kids don't stop turning into adults, right? The whole process of life and society continues. So those who didn't get a mortgage when mortgage rates were really good, and all of a sudden mortgage rates are 12%, 15%, 18%, oh my God. Again, life doesn't stop, so people have to go get mortgages. But they can only afford that $1,500 a month payment, as I gave in this example, because their salary didn't change. Salary stays the same, and many times during these issues, they even come down. So if that $200,000 house can be purchased for someone who can afford $1,500 a month, all is good for everyone involved. The person sells their house at $200,000, they're okay with that. They've made a couple bucks. The person who bought the house at $200,000, they're okay because they got it for a very low interest rate. And the bottom line is, they don't care no one cares what the rates are. All they want to know is, what's my monthly payment for the next 30 years? That's all I need to know. Oh, I can afford that. When the interest rates rise and that next person comes in line, oh, you bought this for $200,000 3 years ago? It's got to be worth a little more than that now. I mean, that's how it works in the housing market. It constantly goes up, even if it's slow. Oh, but but when we got this at $200,000, interest rates were 4%. Now they're 18%. Oh, well, guess what? This person who we thought was qualified for your house, for a $200,000 house, they're only qualified for an $80,000 house now because interest rates are 18%. Which means your house, by default, by force of the market, so to speak, is now worth $80,000. That's how that works. All that sets the price of your house is what can somebody afford via a monthly payment. And if interest rates were 50%, which has never been that high, but if they were, you would find houses for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. That's where $200,000, $300,000 houses would end up. So interest rate plays a key factor. So if you were smart and you've been stacking silver this whole time, waiting for that day to come when the manipulation ends and the prices absolutely explode, you could go find these $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 houses that used to be $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 houses, all for cash money. Oh, the average person still makes that same payment. So yeah, the guy several years ago who had to pay off $250,000 because the interest rates were so low, now the new people have to spend the same amount of time, 30 years, paying off a $60,000 note. A little measly $60,000. But because interest rates are so high, sorry about your luck. So anyone who is stacking silver then takes the silver. Oh, I want a $60,000 house. Here's just a small amount of coins because the price of silver has exploded at this point in the future. And now you own a house free and clear. So what that also means, maybe you can afford another 1 or 2 houses with the amount of silver you've stacked. And if you did, now you can rent those houses out. And the good news is the rent should stay the same, right? Just because you paid $60,000 for a house that you can now rent doesn't mean you have to rent it for $400 a month because you only paid $60,000 for it. No, interest rates are saying that the average price being paid right now is, let's say $1,500 for a house of your size and area. area that your house is located in. So just because your neighbor is upside down in his mortgage immediately because he's paying 18% on this thing, doesn't mean that you have to say, oh, I'll be Mr. Nice Guy. You pay $1,200 a month for your mortgage because you have 18% interest rate, yet you've got a $60,000 house. I also bought this house next to you for $60,000. No, I'm not going to rent it out for $400 or $500, which would be the fair market value. No, I'm going to rent it out for $1,200 a month because that's what the banks do. So essentially, then we kind of do what the banks are doing and kind of rape and pillage everybody else. So what one would do if it was in my opinion, if I was in that situation, because I do kind of care about humanity, I'd find a nice median price. Okay, this area is $1,200 a month everywhere up and down the street. But I found a really good person that appears to be totally legit, just needs a little discount. But they have track record of paying all their bills, their rents and whatnot, but they can only come up with $900 a month. So again, I paid $60,000 for this house recently. $900 a month for a $60,000 house would be absurd. But this whole neighborhood's getting $1,200 a month. So, how about we make a deal for $900 a month? Sounds good. That person is going to do everything they can do to stay in your house because they know anywhere else around here is $1,200 a month. I don't know how in the hell I got $300 a month off of this deal, and I only have to pay $900 a month, but I am going to make sure I take care of this house and that I don't ever leave this place for the foreseeable future, because I know I can't find another deal like this anywhere. Who in their right mind would do this? This guy must be just some real nice guy. Maybe he's got a ton of properties and just doesn't care. I don't know, but I don't care. That's how that's going to go. So, at the same time, from what I've heard from some people who rent houses, it's kind of a nightmare at times. Renters come and go, they stop paying rent, they mess your house up, got to fix the house, air conditioner broke, got to fix the air conditioner, plumbing problem, got to fix the plumbing problem. And most people who rent houses sometimes who said, oh, well, I bought 2 houses during the housing boom, thought I could flip one, I can't now, I'm stuck with both of them, so I'm renting the other one out. What are you renting the other one out for? $1,200 a month. What do you owe on the house per month? $1,300 a month. So you're losing $100 a month just to keep the house and keep your credit score pristine. Yeah, that's right. Let me ask you a question. What happens if you have any problem in the next 30 years of this mortgage you've got now? Maybe you've had it for a few years. There's 26 years left of your mortgage on this house, this rental property. Do you think the air conditioner might go, the roof might go, plumbing might have a problem? That's all major problems are the responsibility of the landlord by law. That includes AC, major plumbing, things like that, pipes, I'm not talking about a stopped up sink, that doesn't count. But you got a septic problem, major plumbing, major electrical, major AC, you name it. And AC is, 4, 5, 6,000 instantly, depending on the size of your house. Could you imagine losing $100 every month, paying $100 a month for something that you should be making money back on, and you have to keep feeding it $100 a month, and then find out that the AC just broke, and by law, you're responsible to fix that. So you could tell the tenant, okay, either you guys pay for it and don't pay me month for the next 5 months, don't pay me rent for the next 5 months, or I'll pay it now and you just continue paying me. Well, right, half a dozen one way, half a dozen the other, doesn't really matter. Because if they decide, okay, we'll pay for the air conditioner, but we're not paying you rent for the next 5 months, what's the difference? You now have to make the full mortgage payment on that house every month. But that may be easier for you than coming up with $5,000 all of a sudden. So again, I can't sit here and tell anyone what the best solution would be, because there are people out there who rent and do well at it. There's other people who get stuck with people that just don't pay the rent. They tear their house up, have to get pay the sheriff's office to come in, serve them, fill out the court paperwork to get them kicked out, evicted. It can be a nightmare. So again, if you had the ability to lower the rent price lower than the average in the area and find a really, really good renter, huge background check, everything checks out great, that's the kind of person you want in your house. But for me, I don't even care about that. My whole mindset is the day's going to come where I have enough money via silver, selling my silver, to go buy a house with cash, and it will be put in my children's name instantly, because that's who's going to be getting the house ultimately. Take care.